Alright everybody, it is BrickBuilder here, and we are back with episode 3 of our Minecraft Let's Build series. As you can see, we currently have a bit of work on the village. Last episode we built this well over here, and this little creeper statue. Little basic builds, but I figured having these little builds are really going to benefit the whole town as a whole. You'll see when it's done that these little builds all put together are really what create the atmosphere and mood for a town. So I think you guys will like it. Plus we also have our little bit of a marketplace over here. But what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be starting probably one of the bigger projects of the town at the moment, and that is going to be the town hall. And it's going to be a little bit different than the town halls I built in the past because we're going to be going with a bit of a desert feel. And since we're in 1.12, we're going to try to take advantage of some of the terracotta blocks. So I just wanted to say, first of all, if you guys don't know this, there's two different variations you can make with all the terracotta blocks. You could do with the yellow glazed, you can do this style or this style. Personally, this is going to probably be the style we go for, just because it has a bit more of a flower shape, and I feel like it kind of fits more in a desert feel. But this over here is equally awesome when you kind of make it like tiled, but we're going to stick with the other one. I have already extended the road, as well as done some basic framework stuff, as you can see, because the plan is we want this thing to look pretty nice, and I think it's going to be very awesome when it's done. I'm going to change these, though, over to birch, just because I think it could look better. And in all the corners, I'm going to throw this chiseled sandstone, or smooth sandstone as they like to call it. You know, that's what I'm going to throw here, just because it just adds a little bit of block variation, and I feel like that's something we could definitely benefit from. And we're going to want everything to go up to this height, just because that's going to be like the base level of everything, because I want this to be slightly higher up than all the rest of the builds in the town, you know, since the town hall needs to be a key focus when you're first coming into town. Now, the town hall will not be a pyramid per se, and I was debating whether or not to make it a pyramid, but then I realized that the pyramids were usually used for burial sites and such in ancient Egypt, so I prefer that we will have a pyramid at least, but we're not going to have the pyramid be the town hall just because it doesn't really make much sense. It doesn't really fit back with the history, which we need to create the atmosphere and lore for the village, and we really can't do that if we don't follow some of the already set in stone, you know, major desert civilizations, I would say. But once we get this thing built up to here like we have, we're going to kind of work from there. So the plan is, up over here we're going to have these little areas, as you can tell, and they definitely look pretty nice already. But what I want to do is I actually want them to go down when you get into them, because I'm completely fine with these being lower, just because I think that could kind of work, and it could kind of be an interesting build, like from a build standpoint, to do something like this, just because you don't always see it. Now, I'm pretty sure that's what I want to do. Yeah, like something like that. That's good. And then on the ground here, I would do terracotta, but the thing is that we need to make 2x2 for that to really work. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get some orange, and we're going to try different orange blocks here, whether or not I want to go with this or the brighter. I'm thinking probably going to go darker with the orange hardened clay, just because that little bit of an extra tint it has there is something that I think is going to benefit us in this style. Now, honestly, I don't really know what these down areas are going to be used for. We might turn these front things into towers, just because I think it'd be pretty useful. And also from like a strategic standpoint, they'd want some form of protection, you know, and especially around their city hall, which is where, you know, all the leaders of the town are stationed. So what I think we're going to do is we're actually going to make these into some form of tower. Now, I don't know if these towers are actually going to be taller than the build itself, but I do know that we're definitely going to want these towers added to both sides, just because we want this, the symmetry of this is kind of going to be important, because symmetry in a bigger build generally kind of represents wealth or power in a way. That's why most castles have symmetry to them. And we'll just put a little archway there, just because, you know, why not? We might end up using it, we might not, but it's just kind of useful just to have the archway or the straight line across just for building purposes. For now, I mean, we can always remove it later, you know, that's the beauty of building in Minecraft and also just creative mode as a whole. So I think if we go for something like that, that should be pretty good. Then we're obviously going to need to fill these in, and what we can do now is, since we have this as the lower level, we can do like a staircase or something, which will definitely be awesome. So I think what we're going to do though is we need to like get all of this here area covered in. Now, yes, this is going to be a lot of sandstone, but you got to remember that it is a desert-themed village, so there is going to be a lot of sandstone, and we are going to try to break this up, and I will show you guys some pretty good things to do with walls of the same block that are over and over again used, because you don't really want that. It doesn't really look the greatest from a builder's perspective to see just giant walls of the same block. It doesn't have enough variation, but I will show you guys how to get the key variation in your giant flat walls and such like that. It won't be too difficult, honestly. It's just a very little bit of a, I guess, a secret little tool that you can use, you know, and it does definitely help. But let's finish covering these up first before we end up showing that off. Now, this inner wall here, I'm not going to really worry about, just because you won't see it from the outside, and to be honest, I don't know if we're going to really worry about the inside of builds at the moment, because we can always do that at another point. But what we can do is, you take these stairs, and actually, personally, I would try to mix a little bit better with using up, like with the hole on the up and the bottom, just because it looks pretty nice when you do it. And if you can see, look, if I go back now, it looks a whole lot nicer, because that wall now is no longer perfect. It's got a little bit of destruction in it, so it does look a bit degraded and somewhat like weathered, or, you know, erosion kind of occurred, which is definitely important in a build such as this, because remember, sandstone, it is kind of made out of sand, so it's not exactly the most, I guess you could say, durable of materials, but it was kind of the main resource that these villages did have, so they frequently used it. And also, it just kind of works, and it works for pretty much any block. You know, it works for cobblestone, like giant cobblestone walls, giant stone brick walls, all those things, you know. Anything that pretty much has a stair, it can work for. And it's a very simple build technique that definitely really helps to kind of liven up your builds a bit. And also, you can always use it more if you're looking for a more damaged look, or if you're just looking for the more detailed look. But this here is a no-no. Don't do that. It generally doesn't look good if they're too close to each other. You want to try to keep like a block gap in between stuff, just because it generally looks better that way. So I think that's about good right there with the kind of hole in the wall style we were going for. We don't really need to go any more than that, but I want to raise this up by 1 right here, just because I feel like we could definitely benefit from these being slightly taller, because you got to look at it from the perspective of, I'm only 2 blocks, you know, as like every other player, but we want the towers to be taller by a lot. And yes, that is a decently high tower, but you could say it's really not, you know, too many Minecraft players high. But either way, we don't want these to be super tall, we just want them to be decently big. So, you know, I'm good with that. And then what we're going to need is we're going to need fences. And first what we're going to do is we're going to do something like this. I'm not really too sure how these are going to turn out, to be completely honest, because I haven't really done any prep on them. But honestly, I'm okay with it, just because I feel like a simplistic kind of style is sort of what we want at the top here. So I think we're going to kind of go for that. On this inner area here will be like the main area. And also we might down in this area here, because, like, you know, this is going to be higher up, will be floor 1. So we'll in the basement area, we'll probably have some form of a treasure room or something, just because, you know, the town hall would be a pretty good spot to save at least some of your town's resources. At least that's what I would do personally if it was my town. And also, we don't have a name for the town yet. I figured we kind of just wait till the end. Until then, it's just a desert village, you know. But what we're going to do is we're going to go 3 blocks high here with these birch fences. And the reason why we're using birch is the color of the birchwood really contrasts with the sandstone very nicely, because they're somewhat similar blocks in like tone, because they both got sort of a yellow vibe to them, but also more like a, I guess you could say, white almost. If you were to suck the color out of them, they'd be closer to white than black, which definitely works. And using birch will definitely help us. I'm kind of thinking I want to actually make this entire staircase birch with maybe the edges sandstone. I'm kind of thinking that could look better, and it definitely does. So that's great, because we want to make sure the birchwood is really accented in this build. It's kind of like one of the key focuses, what we want people to focus on. But now we're going to need to get birch wood blocks and also some birch slabs. But we won't be using the actual birch log, just because it doesn't really make sense for them to have a lot of wood in this village. But I kind of want to use birchwood just because it's a very nice block and really can show off a different texture, which we want, because we don't want everything to just be sandstone in here, because that would kind of get boring. So I think, you know, to kind of change it up a bit, definitely using all the different color variations, you know, like terracotta blocks we'll be using, in addition to all the different birch woods and the different sandstones. I really think we're going to have a very nice block palette overall, as well as the orange theme we've kind of went with so far. If we end up going with the yellow terracotta blocks, I'm kind of debating whether I want to use yellow or I want to use the orange terracotta block. The only reason why I kind of decided to stray away from orange was because I don't really like all the different blues and whites in this. I feel like it's going to really kind of conflict with the rest of our build palette, so I'm kind of thinking that we'll probably stick to the yellow ones, although everything else we've been using is orange so far. And also I think that the design on the yellow will kind of just flow better with this, since they're only going to be used, the terracotta blocks, in really like pristine buildings. It's not really essential to us that we have them all, you know, have an exact color match. They can be slightly different, and I think it'll be perfect. And we're going to go with half slabs on the top here. I tried the full blocks as you saw there, but it really wasn't working. The full block it was too quick of an increase in block size, and that definitely works. We got our 2 towers right there, except now that we added this top part, we really got to add, well, not right there, but we do have to add more, a little bit more destruction into it. I think, you know, we could definitely benefit from that, just because it definitely looks very nice and very awesome. In the back here, we're not going to worry about right now, as I previously stated, just because I don't really know what's going to happen to the back of it yet, if we're just going to kind of keep it that way. If we're going to actually do something with the back wall, I have no idea, but I think we'll do something like that. And I think it looks pretty nice. You can kind of see it looks very well, and the 2 towers, they do very match, which I kind of like. Now, one thing we could try, this is something if we really wanted to, I don't know if that really works. I sort of dig it. I think that a style like that could really work, you know, just a little bit of an accent there on sort of the you know, the defining section, to make it really be clear that this is a tower section, I guess you could say, you know, that like this is the tower top, or where the tower ends, just because, you know, having little intricate details like that is definitely a big thing that the Egyptians did do for at least their time. I don't know now if you could say, I don't know if you could say now that their architecture is really as intricate as modern architecture, but you got to remember that their architecture for their time was very advanced. So yeah. And now what we need to do is we need to kind of figure out the staircase situation, which is going to be sort of a problem. Okay, we can't really do stairs, so maybe we can do half slab stuff. I don't really know how half slabs are going to really work. They might not, to be honest. I don't know. We'll try it out, though, and see how it goes, I guess. Boom. Okay, yeah, half slabs we might have a problem with, but we could try it. Let's keep going. And we could do that, yeah. And then that, and then we'll have to... Okay, there's going to be lots of breaking of half slabs here to really get this to work for us, but there we go. We'll do that, yeah. So you go up here, and then wait, that's not even at the right spot. Dang it, so all of this needs to come down. We done goofed right there. Boom. And there we go. Okay, there we go, like that. And like that. Yeah, but I don't really know if we really want to go for this, but we kind of already just kind of did it, so I think we kind of just got to live with our choice now. Because, I mean, it's not a bad decision, I would say. So we do that, and then we go here. There we go. Whenever we're on the wall, that's going to be easiest, obviously. Because, yeah, plus we're almost at the top already, so, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. And I think that the staircase like this definitely does work. It might not be the most convenient of staircases, but I definitely think it'll look probably the best, or close to the best. But here's a problem. We're going to have a problem getting down. So what we'll do is we're going to go to here, well, right to there, I guess. We go to there, and then what I'm thinking is we do like one of those sort of things, if you know what I'm saying. And then we'll go up like that. And at the top here, we'll kind of make the staircase get more wide, since we sort of want a base. But honestly, I don't really think that the slab staircase is actually going to really work out best for us here in this scenario, just because of the really cramped situation here right now. I'm not really 100% sure what to do, but I think we're going to kind of settle for some form of, I guess we could call it a ladder situation, most likely. So that was, what, 2 down? Yeah, alright, boom. What's going to happen is then 1 above that 2 down is this is going to be like another level. And we'll probably put a coat of arms or a knight in shining armor or armor stance sort of thing there, you know, on this level here, just to kind of, you know, I guess liven it up a bit. And then at the top here, though, I want to quickly do this, just so that way there's only the one way down, because if we have more than that, you can't really stand around here much and actually do anything. Again, although we're planning creative, I do like to keep the survival aspect in mind. So logically, if you're gonna snipe mobs or players from this point, you'd want to make sure that they, have place to walk here, archers or something like that. And we need a pillar block. So what kind of pillar block do we want to go for? We could throw some endstone brick into it, honestly. I'd be down for that, just because I think we could definitely benefit from having some endstone brick. And then what we'll do is we'll do this. Yeah, that definitely works. All right. And we're going to do the same thing over here, just because we got to try to keep the symmetry as best we can, just because building with symmetry is very important, and especially in a build like this. And then we'll just do ladders. Sure, I mean, a staircase probably would be quicker, but at this point, I just think that the ladders will be more convenient from a building standpoint. And also, we are going to need to figure out lighting inside of here, but I think I have an idea for how we can handle lighting, so maybe it won't be actually impossible. Because sometimes lighting is a very difficult thing, as you saw with our marketplace over there. It was pretty difficult to get lighting at first, but we did manage to figure it out. If you haven't seen the video where I did that, check it out at the end of this one. It's a pretty simple, awesome video, so I would check it out. It is the first episode of the series, and we're going to do that. So that's 1, 2, up. All right, let's do that. Boom, 1, 2, up, and then space, and do that. And the thing is, it really works, and honestly, the lighting's pretty hidden. You never really would notice it unless you go all the way around. But I really don't see people doing that. I would say most people would just jump on up and go. And then we'll throw another one behind here. We'll do the same on the other side, because that's definitely going to be useful. So we'll go over there and throw that right on there. Yes, beautiful. And then quickly here, before we wrap up today's episode, we're going to take an armor stand. Okay, armor stand, there you go. Thank you for cooperating. And we're going to take golden armor. And we're going to throw a piece of golden armor on there. Just a very little simple detail. It would be a lot better if we could just change the slab underneath it. I really wish that was something we could do, where we can make that little stone slab right there into a sandstone one, but we can't do that. But anyway, if you guys did enjoy today's episode of Minecraft Let's Build Desert Village, make sure to smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. We did a decent amount in today's episode, and we'll be finishing this thing off in the next episode. So I'll see you guys then. Bye!